Welcome back to Bloom. Did you know 3 times as many Americans meet the criteria for a depression diagnosis during the pandemic than ever before? We are all in a relationship with stress and chaos, and we spend approximately 1/3 of our work time at work. So joining us with self-care tips for employees and well-being and health and wellness expert is Anastasia Tercetta. Welcome to Bloom.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. There's no better message for it than at this time in 2020.
Absolutely. And as you can see, we are socially distancing as the new normal begins. And, you know, for a lot of folks, they're going back into the workplace, and it's nerve-wracking.
It is. It really is. And, you know, I think there's a thing when you're talking about wellness and self-care, there's a lot of daily stressors that employees experience that sometimes we don't talk about, right? And we know stress already impacts our health, it could be insomnia, headaches, increase in blood pressure, and it can be a contributing factor to depression and anxiety. But we also know that employees that are stressed also have poor job performance, you know, they're not satisfied in their job, workplace burnout. I mean, it just kind of layers and layers and layers. So, I mean, it's important to recognize what those stressors are.
Yeah, and you and I were talking about it earlier, you know, from one coworker to the next, it's almost a good idea to just kind of get a read on the people around you and learn to collaborate, maybe help each other get through this.
Absolutely. I like to say that there is no I in team because it's in mindfulness. So in saying that, some of the daily stressors that some people could experience are isolation and loneliness. They could experience cancellation of events, and that could stress them out, going, what am I going to do? I have to make alternate plans. They could experience supply chain anxiety, meaning, am I going to get cleaning supplies for my home? I mean, remember toilet paper?
Sure.
That was just like crazy to think we couldn't have access to that. They could experience financial instability, domestic violence, and insomnia. So there's a theme going on.
There absolutely is. What about resources? Where can we reach out if we find ourselves needing help?
That is so important. I think a lot of small businesses especially. I mean, you have corporate who they have wellness programs like anti-smoking campaigns to physical fitness. But if you're a smaller business, like I worked in dentistry for 25 years, so maybe employees don't know about that, but there's smartphone apps that are proven in mindfulness strategies to reduce stress, reduce workplace burnout, increase happiness, compassion, and focus. And who doesn't want that?
Yeah, I can't think of anybody who might not want that. So are there realistic goals that we could try to accomplish at work?
Absolutely. So Headspace and Happify are 2 of the apps I would recommend. And you would think it takes a lot of time. It's really only 10 minutes. So on your lunch break, put your earbuds in or put your headphones on and go out and grasp that 10 minutes of a wellness check for yourself. You deserve it, and so do those around you.
Any other tips that you have for us?
Harvard did a study, and I'll end it on this, and the fact that mindfulness has been proven to have longer lasting effects on reducing stress than a vacation.
Man, okay, so if you want to jump into mindfulness, what are some ideas that you have?
I would say to download or go to your employer, especially for Happiness and Happify. They have business strategies for employers. They also have free platforms that you can have access to their blogs or on social media. And do this 10 minutes a day. I've gone on and done a Happify task. I've listened to mindfulness meditation, and it's really helped me also.
Any other obstacles that you're seeing out there as you try to help folks navigate on a personal level?
I would say the obstacle in this is really being accepting. You know, it's about being resilient to stress. Stress is never going to go away, but how I react to it, that's really where it's at. So I too have to be mindful of my actions.
Yeah, it's really, really true. And we do need to think about all the resources that you mentioned. There's so many. I find myself waking up in the middle of the night and finding just something free on YouTube that lulls me right back to sleep with like guided meditation. So it's just about, you know, broadening your horizons and trying to do your research and see whatever helpline that you can grab onto to get through these times.
Yes, it's important to have engagement because when you're engaged, you're building relationships. It's really important to build those relationships with your coworkers. And that also helps to nurture your relationships in your personal life too.
Well, I certainly, Anastasia, thank you so much for joining us. This has been so helpful. And if you want to know more, you can go to AnastasiaTercetta.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We'll be back with more Bloom right after this.